Welcome to Corner of the Galaxy, the show that talks 100% LA Galaxy soccer. We're glad you could join us. Now it's time to sit back and relax as your hosts navigate through the twisting, turning, but never boring world of the five-time MLS Cup champion, LA Galaxy.
Hello everybody, welcome to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. I'm your host, Josh Guesman, coming to you live from Corner of the Galaxy Studios on Thursday, August 16th. Have a great show in store for you. Obviously going to go over the LA Galaxy's 2-2 draw with the Colorado Rapids, maybe a goal that should have counted, and then of course another spate of injuries for the LA Galaxy, so we're going to take a look at that. Also going to find out exactly where this LA Galaxy team should be in the standings. Do you think they're overrated, underrated? Where do they sit in terms of MLS, in terms of the playoff position? All those things we're certainly going to look at. And then we're going to get you ready for the LA Galaxy as they head on the road to face the Seattle Sounders on Saturday. That's a 1 p.m. kickoff time. We're going to talk about that game coming up here at the towards the end of the show. But a lot of stuff to talk about. The Galaxy not getting the results that they need over the last two games, or maybe that they wanted. We've talked a lot about how they have sort of come in and out in terms of being successful, winning games, scoring goals. The defense has sort of been, I'll tell you this, the one consistent thing you've seen from the Galaxy this year is their defense. It is consistently bad, and we saw it again in Colorado. Now, this time it's actually a little different if you really want to think about it that way. This wasn't the Galaxy getting caught on quick counterattacks and the LA Galaxy getting caught up the field. Nope, that didn't happen this time. In fact, on both of the goals they scored, Colorado scored. Both of those goals had defenders back behind the ball. And in both cases, Colorado was still able to score. So, I mean, you look at this and what you saw from the Galaxy, and again, it shouldn't be surprising to you if you're a Galaxy fan. You really should already understand what the shortcomings are, and I think the coaching staff understands what those shortcomings are. And I'm not sure you can fix anything. I'm not. It may just be like this. And if that's the case, then you have to figure out how to score more goals. I mean, that's the bottom line, right? So this is where you're looking at for the Galaxy is they're getting results. Listen, this is better than last year. I want to just put it in perspective. And granted, you shouldn't base everything that goes on off of what happened last year, worst year in franchise history. But the Galaxy aren't losing games. They're drawing games. Josh, they just lost to Colorado. Yeah, I know. They've lost one game in their last 12. All right? One game in their last 12. I think if you were any Galaxy fan, last year you would have said you would take one game in their last 12 as something that probably worked pretty well for you. The Galaxy can't hold a lead. That's just how this team is. Quite honestly, then maybe they're better going down and trying to fight back because they seem to do better when that happens. Got the first goal against Colorado in Colorado, ended up losing 2-1. Got the first goal against Minnesota, ended up trying 2-2. Got the first goal against Colorado at home, ended up drawing 2-2. That's what this Galaxy team is. And if you go back and look at the stats in this game, which of course I'm sure all of you do, right? You all look at the stats and say and try to use it objectively to be able to tell what you just saw, to take what you saw in your eyes and be able to look at the graphs and say, yes, this makes sense to me. Galaxy got outpossessed in this game 60-40. All right. What have we learned so far about the Galaxy this year? We know they're direct. All right, good. We know they can't hold possession. 60-40 sort of makes sense. Okay, yeah. It's direct and can't hold possession, right? You know that they were missing some of their more creative players. I'm going to say Jonathan dos Santos. Some of you are going to laugh, but I'm dead serious whenever I say that. Roman Alessandrini, Jonathan dos Santos. Both of those guys going down the first half of the last game, and then you have two more guys. You have Jonathan dos Santos and Michael Ciani going down in the first half of this Colorado game where they just tied. So the 60-40 actually kind of makes sense. In fact, that's a Galaxy possession line that you've seen a lot in the wins that they have. When the Galaxy go up or they have a goal, they have trouble holding on to possession. So the 60-40 does not surprise me, even a little bit. I will tell you this, Colorado outpossessed them and made them look like they were standing still a lot of times. The Galaxy grew into this game, which if you're looking for a positive, maybe that's it. Maybe the first half was some of the most boring soccer, I think. Listen, in the press box, in the press box, what happens whenever a game is real boring is that most of the time, if the game's entertaining or at least interesting, you have the reporters sitting there and they're paying attention and everybody's staring at the field and you're watching it. What you had in the press box during the first half was a bunch of guys just commenting about how boring the game was, and then talking about other things while you still sort of watch the game. All right, that's what happens. The worst game I ever watched was that Sporting Kansas City LA Galaxy game, which I think had one shot on goal, and it was difficult to write a game recap after that because that whole game just sort of blended into nothing. That's how this first half was for the LA Galaxy. Galaxy come out in a lineup without Giovanni Dos Santos, without Roman Alessandrini, and like-for-like swaps in most of these. It wasn't a surprise. Sebastian Lletget takes over for Giovanni Dos Santos in that. We'll call it the 10 spot. I would disagree with you if you really believe that Lletget was playing in a 10 spot. He was not playing in a playmaker role at all. In fact, I'm going to argue, I think, during this podcast that Lletget really shouldn't be playing in the middle anymore. Because if you see where he's having... Josh, he just scored 2 goals in 2 games. You're an idiot. Yeah, I know. Look where he scored those goals. Both of those goals came from the right-hand side. Maybe you need to do something else with Sebastian Lletget to get him out in wide positions because he seems to be able to cut in and attack better than really this central playmaker role that he has been adopted or at least thrust into. I know a lot of people with the U.S. men's national team like to see him in the center. I know that Bruce Arena, I think before he left, wanted to see him in the center. I think that Siggy has wanted to play him in the center, and I get it. I know why. That all makes sense. I get why you want to push him into that position, but I'll tell you right now, I think he's better on the outside cutting in than he is trying to distribute from the center of the field. Jonathan dos Santos had a good first half in this game, which is unfortunate because he came out of this game, much like Giovanni dos Santos' brother the game before, had a good spate, a good first half, was one of the most dynamic players, and I argued that if Jonathan dos Santos stayed in the game against Minnesota, that the Galaxy would have won that game. I will argue that if Jonathan dos Santos stays in this game, I think they have a much better chance at winning. I didn't love, and I have never loved, Perry Kitchen and Servando Carrasco next to each other, but I'll be honest, there isn't something I like more. It's not like putting Baggio Husidic in that role suddenly makes this team better. Maybe you could bring somebody, maybe you could drop Lletget back with Kitchen and bring in, Bradford Jamieson in that center spot. That's a stretch. I realize it. Listen, you're a drop-off from Gio. You're a drop-off from Jonah. There's a reason those guys start. And again, I know I'm saying that Gio is a talented player. He is, and he's been playing better since the World Cup came out. But we're gonna find out. And I'm gonna go over the injury list. You're not gonna have him for a month. So he's out. So Lletget filling in there is good, and Lletget has 2 goals from that position, in quotation marks. But really, it really does change how the Galaxy look, and you saw it in the second half again. You saw it in the second half of the game against Minnesota. You see it in this. These are mirrors of each other in terms of the injuries and how the injuries affected the way the Galaxy were playing. And seeing Zlatan Ibrahimovic drop deeper, Zlatan's complaining about not getting enough clear chances at goal. There's a reason. He's dropping deeper in order to be a playmaker because the Galaxy don't have one. All right, and there's space in between Lletget and whatever the back line of the defenders is going to move off of Kamara. There's space behind there for Ibrahimovic to roam, but it doesn't put him in the dangerous positions you see whenever Gio is up there or whenever you have somebody pressing that top line and opening up space for Ibra. Instead, Ibra's having to open up space for other people, which is why you're seeing a guy like Ola Kamara have a great game. He's just working so hard. He's not getting on the stat sheet. You're not seeing it from him. He has 9 goals on the season. I mean, it's not like he hasn't done anything, but you're not seeing the stats. But if you're watching the game, you're seeing how hard he works, and that's what you saw in this Colorado game. A guy who just worked and worked and worked. Got called. He wasn't even offside. Technically, it was Ashley Cole who was offside. Scored a goal that was rightfully ruled out in this particular case. But what I'm trying to say is that there is a real effect of these injuries and what it's doing to the Galaxy's formation right now. This is seriously, it's going to be difficult for the Galaxy to find a rhythm with this particular formation. And I don't think you change it because I think you have to give familiarity to everybody around it because the people have changed. You want to keep them in there, but it's going to be difficult for this team to go up to Seattle and to get any sort of possession. The good news is they're on the road. They probably will play better on the road than they will at home because they'll get to play some of that counterattacking. But Seattle is going to be a tough cookie to crack here. Or I guess tough nut to crack because you don't crack cookies. Yeah, that makes sense. Good job, Josh. So really you have that. You saw Siani get injured in this game as well. This is something that the Galaxy then put Daniel Steres in, and in the second half, for all of you who are saying, why doesn't Siggy play the 4-4-2? So you had 4-4-2 in the second half. That's exactly what it was. That's exactly what it was. All right, so you had a 4-4-2, the 4 defenders back there. When did they score both of their goals? In the second half. Against what? A 4-man back line in the 4-4-2. You see the problems with the 4-4-2, at least the way the Galaxy play it. There's not enough people in the midfield to slow down an attack. Ashley Cole, whenever he plays the wingback position and you have 3 in the back, does a good job of slowing things down. Perry Kitchen does an okay job of slowing things down. Servando Carrasco did an okay job of slowing things down, but in the 4-4-2, you only have Kitchen and Carrasco in there to slow things down in the second half, and that's not as good as having those 5 in there. And Leggett has to play more defense and get back more. Not his strong suit, but there's a tenacity that he has, so that's okay. He's going to be forced in that position more and more, and in fact, the Galaxy probably will look to play him in the same position whenever they go up to Seattle. So this is what you have with the Galaxy. Understand that there are limitations with all of this stuff. All right, you know that Chris Pontius is only going to be able to run so far. He is the best signing the Galaxy made in the offseason, outside of paying $1.5 million for Zlatan Ibrahimovic. That was, that's the upper echelon there. But in terms of getting your money's worth, Chris Pontius is doing just fine with that. That was a great signing, and he is somehow able to run up and down that field for most of the time. He does leave Romney by himself a lot. That happens whenever you're expecting Chris Pontius to get into the offense and then track back as well. He's not quick. He's not going to be able to go up and back the whole time. And I think that in both of the games that you've seen, Siggy's plan for bringing in subs, I think that if everything was better, I think that if you didn't have the injuries in the first half of both of these games, I think Felcher already would have had some time in both of those games. The fact that he hasn't is limiting his return, because there's a good chance that in Seattle you would want to start Felcher instead of Pontius. Josh, you're crazy. No, Josh isn't crazy. I would go with 5 in the back. A 5-3-2, let Felcher and Cole pinch into the midfield whenever they can to be the defense. Let Cole get forward whenever he wants to. You can even put Boateng on the side and give Cole a break. Those things can happen here if you get Felcher back. But because he hasn't played, that's limiting his return right now. And it's not going to be... It's not going to be perfect. It's not the way the Galaxy want to play. They were healthy. I'd just like to point this out. They were 100% healthy going into the game against Minnesota, and in 2 halves, in the first half of both of these games, they've lost all 3 designated players and Michael Siani. They were completely healthy, and now they have 4 players who are out. And by the way, those 4 players not playing this weekend in Seattle. I'll tell you that right now. We already know what the injuries are, and again, I'll go over those. But you do have to give some props to some of the stuff the Galaxy did. Ashley Cole getting a goal. Cole goal. His 3rd career goal for the LA Galaxy. His 1st since the LA Galaxy got destroyed by Real Salt Lake 6-2. You all remember that, right? 6-2. July 4th. That's the last time Ashley Cole scored a goal. Got the ball from Chris Pontius, a good pass and a great move by Ashley Cole, and then was just able to dance through the box and get that. That was good. Okay. Other good, Sebastian Leggett, as we talked about, 2 goals in 2 games. Good. Although, again, where did he find the space? On the right-hand side. That was good because he moved into the space, but again, he attacks better from the right-hand side. Left-footed shot, curled it around Tim Howard. Great. How about a first-half goal that could have been called? How about the shot by Ola Kamara? Now, we've seen the replays. Ola Kamara hits a ball. The ball goes towards the far post. Tim Howard dives for it. It goes off of his hand, hits his face, and somehow, quote-unquote, stays outside the line. Okay. Here's the thing. There's only one person who knows whether or not that ball went over the line. That's Cosmo. Cosmo tried to jump over the boards, telling everybody the ball went over the line. I'm going to have to disagree with Cosmo on this one, and the only reason is, and I'm going to disagree with anybody who's been posting the pictures saying this shows the ball's over the line. It doesn't show the ball's over the line. It's a horrible angle. It's not being shot down the line. MLS does not have goal line technology. All right, I know y'all wanted to think that they did. They don't. There is no goal line tech. It is only VAR, so it's only video. And with the Spectrum Sportsnet telecasts that they're doing, they do not have goal line cameras. Now, the posts at StubHub can accept goal line cameras. ESPN has done it. I've seen it for some of the bigger games. So that's something that you could see. So if you did have the cameras, you could have a goal line camera. And if you had a goal line camera in there, then there's a chance that VAR could have looked at it and said, oh, yes, that's a goal. But because the angles come from really the midfield line and then the quarter field lines on either side, that's where the cameras are pointed. You're always at an angle down on the goal line. You're never going to be able to tell. So keep posting those pictures, and I'll keep telling you're crazy. The ball could have been over the line. I have no idea, and you certainly don't know that ball went over. You can post the pictures all you want, but it shows absolutely nothing. You could put that ball almost anywhere, right? And Ola Kamara even admitted. Larry Morgan had a story for us today talking to Ola Kamara about it. And Ola Kamara goes, yeah, he thinks it might have went in, but his view might have been blocked too. So even Ola's like, and I'll tell you this, after the game, nobody talked about it. None of the players talked about it. They weren't like, oh man, we got screwed on that. No, they didn't. They didn't say any of that. They had lots to talk about. They complained about other things, but not that. That didn't happen. So usually if a player feels aggrieved, they're going to tell you. It doesn't. It doesn't. Yeah, somebody said that perhaps, the Galaxy need to look at getting a better TV deal. The Galaxy have, at the time they signed it, it was the best television deal in Major League Soccer. I think $5.5 million over 11 years, or excuse me, $55 million over 11 years, if I remember correctly. But since they've been bought out, the coverage has sort of waned. It's not a great product anymore. I mean, Joe and Kobe do the best they can there with what they're given. I think those guys are great, even if I disagree with them on some things. So if MLS wanted to do goal line technology, it costs over $300,000 a stadium in order to do that. So multiply that by your 23 teams and soon to be 24 teams, and that's how much it's going to cost you to install goal line tech across the entire league, which you have to have it on all league. If goal line tech, by the way, points 7 cameras at each goal, so you have 14 cameras that basically are able to track the ball. That's how it works. It's from Hawkeye Technologies, same people who do the tennis stuff. So if you've ever seen the tennis and the Hawkeye and the replays and all that fun stuff, I think goal line technology is great. If you've seen it in the World Cup or you saw it in the EPL or any of the leagues across the world, goal line tech is so cool because it does one thing that I absolutely love. It keeps players from arguing about whether the ball went over the line or not, because the ball is over the line. All right, if the watch buzzes, the ball is over the line, and it has millimeter accuracy, which means it's way, way, way more sensitive and way more exacting than any television is going to be. So imagine you have VAR. And have you seen some of the replays that they have for goal line technology where they show it and you're like, wow, I didn't know if that ball went over, and they show it and it just barely ever so little tiny teensy bit. In fact, to your naked eye, it still looks like it's touching the line, but goal line tech says it goes over, and that's more accurate than your eye or the television you're watching it on, so it's good. Imagine trying to do that with VAR, looking at the replay and saying, oh, did it go in? No. So again, goal line tech should be something. I think it costs about $5,000 or $6,000 a game in order to operate it as well. So you have to take that times your 17 games that you play at home, plus the preseason games that you have. So that's what you see. So I have no doubt in my mind that VAR took a look at the ball whenever Ola Kamara shot it and looked at it and said, I don't have the angle to fix that. There's nothing there. I can't do anything. And again, I'm looking at it. I'm telling you, there's nothing there. We saw the replays in the press box and we all sat there and said, there's no way you can do that. So MLS has stated that it's too expensive. They installed VAR instead. I would love to see VAR be taken away with that and just put in the goal line tech, because goal line tech is important. You got to count the goals that are goals. Goal line tech is great because anybody can use it, even MLS refs, for those of you worried about their intelligence. It's very easy. The ball goes over the line, the watch that they have on, it buzzes and it says goal. That's it. And then they blow the whistle and say it's a goal. Game over. That's it. Easy peasy. There's no arguing. That's it. So Yeah, it's one of those things. The $6,000 per game, by the way, like $5,000 or $6,000 per game. Somebody, Wicked in the chat room, is asking, why does it cost $6,000? I'm sure there's a licensing fee that also happens to this. Plus, you may actually have to have somebody who runs it as well, who sits there and makes sure the cameras are correct and everything is happening. I don't know if those are Hawkeye officials or if they teach somebody. So there's a cost associated with running the program because there's a software program that combines all of these for a view of the ball. It's actually really cool. Really cool tech. It's something MLS needs to do, but in this case, we'll never know. We'll never know because the camera angle's not there. So anyway, you can keep arguing about it if you want. It's not going to help you at all, especially not in this game. 2 goals the Galaxy gave up. Oh, the first one. Here's where I told you in the beginning it's different. This is why this game was different. And I may even argue here later that the Galaxy are getting better, and it's just you're not paying attention to the important parts, okay? This is the problem with both of those goals. They had people behind. People behind the ball both times. Both goals, there were people there. This was not a case of the Galaxy getting out-countered or outrun. The defense was back. In fact, Siggy mentioned that there were 5 or 6 guys back at one time, and a forward still wins the ball. He goes, so it's not tactics. All right, let's listen to Siggy a little bit in terms of what he had to say. If you go to cornerofthegalaxy.com, by the way, I did something that I won't be doing for every game because it's exhausting. But I did post the entire transcript from all of the post-game media availability that we had afterwards. So we talked to Siggy Schmidt, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Ashley Cole, and Sebastian Lletget. Those were the 4 people that we got to talk to. So you can go read word for word everything they said. And this includes, and this is better than what the Galaxy put out. Because I'm telling you right now, they only clip maybe 1 or 2 or 3 of the things that are said. They never take the whole thing because some of it just doesn't make sense. So Siggy Schmidt talks about the tendency to the LA Galaxy to give up leads, and he says, yeah, I mean, it's not good. It's not good defensively. It deals a little bit with mentality, and it deals with our organization. It deals with our communication on the field. On the first goal, the ball gets cleared out and we don't step out. We walk out. Again, we can talk tactics and we can continue to work on that, but that's not tactics, that's effort. We need more from them. I mean, we have the defenders we have. We weren't able in the transfer window to add anybody because we just don't have the room or the finances to do it, and we didn't have the roster space to do it. It's difficult. These guys have to step up, and we've got to figure it out. We're not going to get to the playoffs by going 1 point at a time. Siggy targeted 1.5 as the points per game the Galaxy needed in order to get in the playoffs. They're at 1.48 right now. They were at 1.5 before this game, so they dropped a little bit in there. But that's Siggy Schmidt talking about it. He's talking about effort. There are people understand. There were people behind the ball on this. The ball gets headed out by Shelvik. He does a good job to get in the way, to head it out to the side. Unfortunately, it lands right to a Colorado Rapids player. All right, that's unfortunate. It happens. All right, but that's not the end of the world. So Edgar Castillo gets the ball. He starts running at Dave Romney, and Dave Romney doesn't come out and attack. Now, Dave Romney didn't have any cover behind him either, and he also had Dan Steres, who was shifted and in the center still. So he was on an island by himself. Again, no tracking back from Chris Pontius. That's something you'd like to see. You would hope you would get some help. You'd hope you get some backside pressure on Edgar Castillo, the defender, who has now made his way up onto the left-hand side. And all Castillo does is get the ball and then hit a laser of a left foot shot that goes across the goal and past David Bingham. That one was unfortunate. It's an effort issue in terms of, and a little bit of tactics. I mean, there is something there. You would like to see somebody trying to track back. You would like to see that. But that's not happening right now. All right, so the Galaxy end up giving up a goal there. That happens, all right? That's the worst goal. By the way, of the goals that Colorado scored, that is the one that you should be angry and upset about. That's the one where you have to say you have to be better. You have to try to block that. And Siggy Schmidt said after the Minnesota game that he was disappointed because the Galaxy had not been blocking enough shots. He said in the Minnesota game, we didn't block any shots. We didn't get in front of people. Look at this Colorado game. Go back and look at how many times Ashley Cole gets in front of the ball. Dave Romney gets in front of the ball. Shelvik gets in front of the ball. And who gets in front of the ball in the second goal? Daniel Steres. Daniel Steres did everything right. There's nothing he did wrong in this play that allows Nicky Jackson to get a goal, and it's unfortunate. All right, and I'm going to disagree with Joe Tatino and Kobe Jones, who I both like very much. They're good guys, but I'm going to disagree. You want to go ahead and blame it on David Bingham when that ball gets deflected, and not deflected a little bit. That ball was going towards the far post. All right, Bingham saw it go towards the far post. He was already set for that. And then the ball gets deflected. He doesn't see it because it gets deflected by Steres real close up, and then he has no time to react. That's why it looks like he doesn't see it, and it goes right over his head. That's why he misses it. All right, I was talking to some players. And they were saying, hey, listen, we saw the deflection. David Bingham has to do better. Everybody wants that, but at the same time, that's not his fault. Zlatan called David Bingham out in not so many words. We can talk about that as well. David Bingham is an average goalkeeper. Maybe a little bit above average. Right in there. You need to have a good defense behind him. That's just an unlucky goal. You can be mad about giving up the lead, absolutely. Should Nicky Jackson should have even gotten that ball in that position? No, they should have probably been able to attack that ball before he gets it. But Steres did everything right. The Galaxy defense did everything right in there. Bingham was in the correct position. He didn't see it. Once the ball got lost in Steres' legs and comes to the deflection off, he didn't see it. And that goes over his head. That's fine. I'm going to live with that. He's had plenty of mistakes. I think he should have got his hand on the ball that went across his body in the first one, on the Dave Romney one. But it was a laser. It was a laser. See, and again, everybody, even in the chat room, you guys keep looking at it as if he had plenty of time to react. It looked like he didn't. So why didn't he react? What, you don't think that he knows how to dive and he knows how to move? And if you think that two hands going up above him is going to save that ball, the ball was by him before he even saw it. That ball doesn't get deflected, he has a chance at it. All right? That ball doesn't get deflected, he has a chance at it. Absolutely. So Bingham is among the leaders in Major League Soccer in saves because he gets peppered with shots so many. Not so much in this game. This was actually pretty good. He made 2 saves. He faced 4 shots. I mean, that's not a ton. Colorado's not that good either. I mean, that's where the frustration really comes from, everybody, right? That's where it always starts. Is that the last two games, the last 3 games, are against bottom-dwelling teams. Guess what? All those bottom-dwelling teams, they're starting to move towards the middle. That's what happened. By the way, somebody in the chat room says, oh, we miss Jaime Pinedo. Jaime Pinedo just announced that he is retiring from international football, actually. I wanted to bring that as part of the Galaxy News part, but I'll say it now. Jaime Pinedo said basically that he won't play any more international for Panama, and so now he's just a club guy, which is kind of cool. It is kind of cool. Jaime Pinedo was great. He got some bad advice, and for that, he abandoned the team that really probably still would have had him if he was there. I mean, did you think Jaime Pinedo would go anywhere if he was if he wouldn't have left on his own volition after getting some horrible advice? It's a good question. I don't think he's going anywhere. Anyway, Dave Romney didn't have a great game. The rest of the defense played okay. I know there's people who are going to argue Bingham didn't have a great game. I'll say that right now. That clearance that he miffed, and that was not good. So, I mean, but that's what you get from David Bingham. He's been consistent all year. David Bingham has given you consistent effort throughout the year. Throughout the year, David Bingham has given you effort. Consistent effort from the defense as well. And maybe that's not a good thing. All right, Siggy Schmidt calling out the effort. Siggy Schmidt saying, similar to Saturday, whenever I asked him about his general thoughts on the match. He said, similar to Saturday, we had the lead twice, so we need to hold on to the lead. Our final resolution, our final commitment, I don't know if it's there. I know we can talk tactics if we want, but when there is one forward playing against 4 defenders and he drops off and gets the ball in a pocket, I don't know what the tactics are there. Saying that they're in the right position, they should make the play. And he goes on, he says, do we need 6 back there? The tactics are somebody's got to get up his rear end. So it's just that final thing for us, just hasn't clicked. He goes on and he says, I thought they were better than us tonight in the first half. For sure, we switched to a 4-4-2 at halftime. I thought we got into the game a little better as the result of that, and we got a couple of goals, but so did they. Zlatan Ibrahimovic was amazing. Was amazing. We had to wait for him for a long time. Didn't know if he was going to want to talk to us. Always sort of a toss-up. You never know. If you haven't read all of his quotes, you need to, because there's no way I could get them all in here. Basically, Zlatan saying, my favorite thing that he said is on not getting scoring chances, and he says, I quote, no, 2 games, not even one clear chance, and I don't know. I'm trying to run into space and to get the balls. The only thing I had was a free kick, actually 4 free kicks. 2 of them hit the bird outside of the stadium, and 1 catch the hand, the 4th hit the crossbar, and that's the only chances I have. I don't know what it is. It is what it is. I'm trying, but yeah, I don't get the clear chances. Again, clear chances for Zlatan playing deeper backs. Coincidence? I think not. All right. The injuries are bad, though, for the Galaxy. This isn't a good stretch. We've talked about the game, against Colorado. I don't know that let's see. You know what? I think I have a legit quote that I'd like to read because there's something in the way he said it, and I can give you a little context. Let's see if you need to cover. He says, and I quote, he says on if the team's too soft at certain times in the game, he says, I definitely think so. Actually, no, let's go to this one. He says on if it's an effort issue. I asked him. I said, Siggy says this is an effort issue. Is it an effort issue? Are you guys not trying as hard in key moments? That was basically my question to him, and he comes off and he says, of course, if that's what the manager sees, then most likely that's probably what it is. Of course, we're running and we're trying, but it's just more organization. Maybe we don't have to run as much, and maybe we don't have to be that tired. It's more that we're shooting ourselves in the foot. That's Sebastian Lletget disagreeing with what Siggy Schmidt is saying, because he changes it. You can hear it. Of course, if the manager says that we're not giving effort, then I see that. But we are running. We are trying. It's not because we're not trying. It's because maybe we're not being smart at the points where we're giving max effort. That is something. In Barcelona has this great sort of motto. It's run small, run smart. All right, it's maybe run little, run smart. However it's translated into English, that's how it is. Run small, run smart, which basically means you shouldn't be out there running around like crazy. You should be doing the minimum amount of running in order to do your job. So that's what you have with the Galaxy right now. Again, a disappointing performance, but there's some arguments to be made here. Let's get into some of those arguments. If I can get to them, if we can see it. Are the Galaxy actually getting better? Because they're scoring first. Are the Galaxy better when they're scoring first, or the Galaxy better whenever they give up a goal first? Have the Galaxy been getting consistently better and just not seeing the results over it? Again, 1 loss in the last 12 games. If you track that, that's a good stat to see because the Galaxy aren't losing games right now. Yes, some of these were easier. I absolutely agree that some of these games were easier. I'm not going to say that. But the Galaxy aren't losing those games either. They're drawing those games. They're winning games. 1 loss in their last 12 games. Right? There's a reason they climbed up. There's a reason they're in 4th place. Ashley Cole said if he was going crazy with trying to figure out the Galaxy's defense, he says, I'm gone already. It's difficult. At the start of midseason, we were going down and coming back in games. Then the last few weeks, we're leading games and conceding silly goals. I think we're disappointed how we're conceding goals and we have to change it. Sure, all that, great. Except that the Galaxy are probably a better team when they're playing from behind. All right? Because they have to try to play with possession. They can't just be direct and try to score. The Galaxy, whenever they go down, seem to be able to find the gear and fight for it. That's a good thing to have. It's not as bad as you think it is. All right? It's not as bad as you think it is. And the Galaxy are showing that they're getting better. Really, small adjustments here. Small adjustments show huge dividends for the LA Galaxy if they can get just a little bit tighter on some of this stuff. If they can score goals. If they go up to Seattle and score the first goal, things are better for the Galaxy. I know you'll say, but they're better at playing from behind. I would agree they're better, but trying to do this on the road, and the Galaxy will do better on the road because they don't have the possession issue they have at home. At home, they're expected to have possession. This team is not a possession team. Just get it out of your head. They can't pass. They don't move very well, but they move well when they're direct. They move well whenever they get the ball up to Zlatan and let him distribute out. They're good at moving off of the ball from the center once they get it up into the attacking zone. The strength of this Galaxy team is in its offense. So when they can rely on the offense, and that doesn't happen when you're up a goal, but when you can rely on the offense, the Galaxy team is okay. But at the same time, on the road, and there's a reason the Galaxy have had some success on the road, is you're not expecting them to carry the ball. So don't expect that they have to carry this ball, that they have to carry the possession. That's not what we want to see. What we want to see from the Galaxy is that they're playing with purpose and flair, and you've seen them in the last 2 games do that, and then you lose 4 players to injury. Other things that happened in this game, I don't know if you were at the stadium. I think a little over 16,000 was the final tally in terms of supporters, and that's great for a Wednesday, or excuse me, a Tuesday. It was so stupid that it was a Tuesday. So stupid. I hate Tuesday games. They're the worst. The absolute worst. They've screwed up my whole week, by the way. Not that I'm complaining anymore, but just having a Tuesday game screws up my whole week, and I don't like it. I don't like midweek games to begin with, and Tuesdays are the worst. So anyway, doing a Tuesday game on the Tuesday night. So there was 16,000 there. You might have noticed it sounded like a funeral in the first half. A little bit of a protest going on by Angel City Brigade, ACB, in the north side of the stadium. There's been sanctions levied on them. In fact, no drums, no banners, no flags for the next 2 home games. So that's over with now. Gone in terms of the home protection or the home sanctions that they were under. So 2 games, but the rest of the year on the road, they will also be without the flags, the banners, the drums, and all that stuff. And they were protesting the LA Galaxy front office because Angel City Brigade thinks they're not being treated fairly. And I think we talked about it on Tuesday. They may have a beef there, and it sounded like a funeral in there. It was quiet. It was very quiet. All right, they started cheering in the second half. That was their protest, was the first half. They tweeted out in the first half, it said, "A club without its most passionate fans is heartless and lifeless. You can be the most successful club in the world, but without them, you have no soul." There you go. Okay. I've, of course, asked for an official statement from the LA Galaxy, and you know that one was not provided because they said that they wouldn't do that. So that's what you get from the club whenever I ask questions about what's going on, which I don't think is a great look. I think you could have just told me what your side is on stuff, and then I could have presented it here, but apparently not. That's how it goes. So anyway, I thought it was better in the second half. The Galaxy played better in the second half. The game was better. There was no way you could have predicted there were 4 goals in that game after the first 45 minutes. There's no way. In fact, I was talking to friend of the show, Sarah, at halftime. By the way, if you ever want to come meet me and see me and say hi at halftime, top of section 108 at the bottom of the press box stairs, you'll see me there. I come there every game, every halftime. I'm more than willing to say hi. You can stand in the circle. We can talk about the game. I can give you all the information that I did. Yeah, and I should point out, Lars did put in a good effort. I don't want to just say that it was, that there was no effort on that. They really did a good job on all this. We're going to talk about Seattle. Chat room's trying to get me ahead on all this stuff. So anyway, wanted to make sure that you had that as well. But yeah, you can come say hi to me anytime you want. That works. LA Galaxy injuries right now. Ramon Alessandrini, and of course, Corner of the Galaxy broke this news on Tuesday before it was 100% official. We tweeted out that the MRI showed no significant damage to the knee. And that, I should say, no structural damage to the knee, and that it didn't look like it was a long-term injury. Siggy Schmidt came in after the game. I asked the question in order to get an update on 4 players. It was supposed to be just 2, but then 2 more got hurt. I asked for an update in this, and Siggy Schmidt came through and told us the same thing about Ramon Alessandrini. He said it's a knee injury. MRI didn't show any structural damage, but there is a bruise to heal on that knee. He expects him to be out 1 to 2 weeks. Borderline whether or not Ramon Alessandrini is back for LAFC on 8/24. Yeah, I wouldn't put money on it right now. Giovanni Dos Santos actually has the worst of the injuries. Whenever you looked at those, you thought Ramon's was worse than Gio's. That is not the case. Giovanni Dos Santos, a grade 2 quad strain, out 3 to 4 weeks per Siggy Schmidt. That's a month. So he's not going to be back for LAFC. You have Jonathan Dos Santos, who is out now for sure Seattle. I'm guessing you're not going to get him back for LAFC. He has a groin strain. It's a grade 1 strain. You're probably looking at 2 to 4 weeks. 2 to 3 weeks, somewhere in there. So we'll see how that goes. Michael Ciani had his hamstring injury. He will not be traveling to Seattle as well. Hamstring injury. This is something that Michael Ciani has been dealing with a whole bunch of this injury for the whole year. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but if you watched him on his hamstring, he's always holding it. He's always stretching it. And he's been able to get through games with this injury for a while, but he felt it tighten up. They wanted to make a change because they were worried about it. So he's not going to be traveling to Seattle either, so you can count him out. That is 4 players the Galaxy did not have injured whenever they started the game against Minnesota that are now out, and that includes all 3 designated players. By the way, MLS kind of stole my stats. They didn't really. Somebody went back and did the same thing that I did. In fact, they did it further. Starting in the summer of 2017, the LA Galaxy's 3 designated players have played a total of 27.1% of the total available minutes for the LA Galaxy. They went back into 2017. I didn't even go that far. I just have 2018 numbers. Giovanni dos Santos so far in 2018 has played 35.1% of the total available minutes. Jonathan dos Santos, 57.2%. Roman Alessandrini, 60.8% of the total available minutes. That means combined, the 3 LA Galaxy designated players have combined for a total of just barely over 50%, 51% of the total available minutes. You want to know why the LA Galaxy have been struggling for a lot of these years? Starting in 2017, throw out the 27.1%. That is exactly why. You have your 3 highest paid players on the team, and those dudes cannot stay on the field. Injuries in quotation marks, whatever you want to call it, however it is. Roman Alessandrini is not immune from this criticism either. He has missed a significant amount of time. Granted, he's played the most out of the 3 designated players. All right, but that's what you see. 51%. 51%, that's how much it is. You throw Ola Kamara in there, has played 83.6% of the minutes. What a signing. What a signing Ola Kamara is. Zlatan Ibrahimovic has played 71.9% of the minutes that have been available to him. That's 22 games for him, 25 games for everybody else. Yes, Gio and Jonah were with Mexico, and yes, I did count those as absences because a designated player is supposed to be on the field for the Galaxy. That's how it works. All right? That's how it works. So you want to talk about a huge issue? That is one of the huge issues that you have coming out of this. Galaxy will not be successful if they don't have any designated players. And right now it looks like there will be no DPs ready to play against LAFC, which would be the second time this year that the Galaxy will face off against LAFC in the 3rd round of the El Tráfico at StubHub Center. That'll be the second time in a row at StubHub Center the Galaxy have had no DPs. 0. Nada. None for that game. That's just nuts, right? I'm not the only one who's sitting here is going, oh, that doesn't make any sense. It's something the Galaxy have to look at. It's something they have to get better with, is how available these players are going to be. Steven Gerrard would never played as a designated player. All right, Robbie Keane towards the end was injured a lot. This is something you need to see. By the way, chat room saying, hey, LA Galaxy, bring back the Thundersticks. I'm a big fan of the Thundersticks, by the way. I think Thundersticks every game. I already told LA Galaxy PR that. Said that exact same thing. Said it. Let's see. I'm trying to think if there's any cool stats that I have in here. LA Galaxy averaging 1.48 points per game. That is just slightly under their 1.54 historical average of points per game. And if you're looking at the total points through 25 games, the LA Galaxy currently about almost a full point underneath their average. So they have 37 points after 25 games. Their average is 37.9, so almost 38 points. So this Galaxy team is an average Galaxy team. Gee, doesn't that show in the standings? Yes, it does, Josh. You're so smart. Thank you. Lots of stuff. I have all my notes here, all my stuff that I'm just sort of thumbing through, so that way we can keep going through this. I have some extra junk for you. I have a little filing system called Extra Junk, and that's for stuff that I want to throw in there. I would like to throw out some viewer parties. People have asked me to talk about some viewing parties coming up for LAFC, so we'll jump ahead to that real quick. 8:24 is when that game is being played. It's a Friday night. If you are in New York City, yes, I consider Corner of the Galaxy to be the listening post from which we broadcast to all Galaxy fans around the world, no matter where you are. So, if you're in New York City, boy, do I have a deal for you. At Smithfield, NYC, that's 138 West 25th Street in New York City. That's New York, 10001. A 10:30 p.m. kickoff time on the East Coast will be LA Galaxy versus LAFC, and that is an LA Galaxy watch party right there at Smithfield, New York City. Atlanta, yes, Atlanta, you too. We love you out there in Atlanta as well. And if you have somehow eschewed the Atlanta United and you are still a Galaxy fan, then you deserve a viewing party of your own. Stats Brew Pub in Atlanta, that's 300 Marietta Street Northwest in Atlanta, Georgia. Again, a 10:30 p.m. Eastern kickoff time. There are people who are already ready to go to those, so you will not be alone if you go to those places. All right? I'm serious. You'll not be alone to go to those places. If you want a Seattle watch party, somebody on Twitter asked me to throw this one out, but an LA Galaxy watch party in Temecula. The Bridge on 3rd, that's 2743. Let's see, is that right? What is that address? I don't even know what that address is. It's on 3rd Street. The Bridge on 3rd, okay? It's in Temecula. You can go there this Saturday, 1 p.m. kickoff time for Seattle Sounders. That's my interesting stuff. All right? That's my interesting stuff that we have. Let's go to some wacky MLS news. Why not? It's fun. I enjoy wacky. Do you enjoy wacky? I enjoy wacky MLS stuff. It's fun. Mark Wahlberg. Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. Mark Wahlberg possibly interested in buying the Columbus Crew? There was an article on this. I'll save you the time. It was in Last Word on Soccer. If you want to go there and check it out, always got to give the link out so you can go find it. But Mark Wahlberg, Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. Could he get Columbus and rename it the Funky Bunch, please? I swear, I would be 100% for that. I know nobody else would, but I am in. He says whenever he was asked about possibly buying the Columbus Crew, he says, actually, you know what? I would. My dear friend Bob Kraft has not only the New England Patriots, but he owns the New England Revolution as well. I have a bunch of people who are involved. I think that may be something we need to discuss. So Mark Wahlberg and the Funky Bunch possibly buying the Columbus Crew, and of course you know the Columbus Crew possibly moving to Austin. Yeah. That deal apparently got the go-ahead from the Austin City Council to move forward. So we'll see if Columbus ends up relocating to Austin. So Save the Crew, certainly still in full effect. Maybe Mark Wahlberg's an answer there. Maybe it's not. But it's a bad black eye for Major League Soccer doing this to the Columbus Crew. I'll say that right away. So it's certainly going to be something we're going to see. This is another just weird one. I do this because, whenever everybody always says that rules are made in favor of the Galaxy all the time, I like to point out that other guys get breaks all the times too. Orlando City acquired a defender on loan today. Today as we're recording, August 16th. You say, but Josh, didn't the transfer window close already? Why, yes. The transfer window did close. So how in God's name did Orlando City acquire a defender Carlos Asuces? That's as close as I'm going to get, and I probably will never have to say that. Watch, he'll come to the Galaxy. I'll probably end up having to learn it. But anyway, comes on loan from somewhere in South America. I didn't read the whole thing, but I just wanted to find out what mechanism this is. All right? And this is how they did it. See, they put in all the transfer and paperwork in before the transfer window closed. That goes into FIFA's online thing. You type it in. You got to put all the correct information in that. Well, apparently, Carlos, whenever they were filling this out, didn't put his bank account number in there, which is funny. They need to have a bank account in order for this to be an official transfer. I guess that's so he gets paid, so that way everybody understands where the money's supposed to go. It's a FIFA protection, that type of thing. But apparently he forgot to do it. And whenever they didn't notice it until after the window had closed. And so basically that transfer didn't go through. But because there was a good faith on all sides and all parties to get it done by the time it was, and it was just because of this bank account, they had to go through MLS. MLS then had to go to U.S. Soccer, and U.S. Soccer had to make a FIFA appeal in order to get this happen. And FIFA looked at it and said, yeah, listen, you guys did all the right things. It was just a bank account. It's just a number. Everything else was there. Everything is good. You're good. Thank you very much. And so they approved that. So that is how Orlando City got FIFA to let them have a loan outside the transfer window, which I thought was interesting. That's just one of those wacky things that you're going to see. In years to come, you're going to be like, oh, man, how did this person do it? And you're going to go back and see this. We'll see what we do there. All right. MLS standings. Atlanta United still at the top of the Eastern Conference, 2 points per game, which is higher than anybody else. And he lies immediately. How did you like that lie? That was a quick lie, wasn't it? Atlanta United at 2 points per game, having played one more game, 24 games, than the New York Red Bulls at 23. New York Red Bulls at 2.04 points per game right now. So New York Red Bulls in prime position to be a Supporter Shield leader here. All they have to do is get that game in hand and win it, and they will be above Atlanta United right now. I'm going to tell you this because everybody keeps trying to point this out to me. The Galaxy are ahead of everybody in terms of games played. They have 25. Only Real Salt Lake has 25. Let's see. Who else? Montreal Impact has 25. That's it. Okay, so there's 3 teams who have 25 games played. The LA Galaxy are one of them. Josh, how can you say the LA Galaxy are a playoff contender whenever they have sometimes 2 or 3 games in hand over people? And it's very simple because I look at points per game. Points per game. In the Western Conference right now, if you were to sort it by points per game, the Galaxy would go from 4th place to 5th place based on points per game. Here's the other thing I can tell you. With games in hand. Games in hand are only useful if you win those games, if you draw those games, if you lose those games. The game in hand does not help you. And if you're the LA Galaxy, you have to be feeling pretty good in terms of the teams that are underneath you, that you have already played these games and are averaging 1.48 points per game. I told you, I think 2 or 3 games ago, that there was a stat that came out that basically said that at this point in the season, which I think it was 75% of the season, that most teams are who they are. Their points per game are pretty much going to hold out. You're not going to see dramatic shifts up, dramatic shifts down. It ends up being that 6 or 7 teams still have the ability to jump up and jump down. Yes, absolutely right. That could still happen. But right now for the LA Galaxy, where they're at is not horrible. They're in 4th, possibly 5th. All right? So the Galaxy are a top 6 team in the Western Conference. That's what we've been arguing for most of the time. I'm not saying it's not going to get tight. And the Galaxy do not have an easy schedule down the stretch. But this Galaxy team is an okay team. You need to give them a little more time. I know they can't hold a lead. Yeah, okay, that's great. But they're also not losing these games. They lost to Colorado, Josh. That's 1 game in 12. Look at how they're playing. Look at the trend that they're doing. I know, Josh, they're trending negative right now. Yeah, they are a little bit. But if they win 1 game in this next couple stretch, all of a sudden that trend is positive again because they haven't been losing games. Galaxy sit in 8th place in the Supporters' Shield race. Are they in 8th place in the Supporters' Shield? They're a top 10? Are they a top 12? They're probably top 12. They're probably top 12, which gives them 4 sort of places to slide in there whenever you look at where they are. Now, if they get lucky on just a couple of these results, there's 9 games left, everybody. 9 games. 9 games. Yeah, I'm not saying the Galaxy are going to go into the playoffs and win MLS Cup, although somebody was pointing out to me today that the Galaxy are a dangerous enough team that for some reason they got hot at the right time in the playoffs, they could make it to an MLS Cup. I'm not saying they could win it. I'm not saying they could beat an Atlanta in an MLS Cup. But yeah, they could go. They could do it. They could also not make the playoffs. But I think where they're sitting right now with 9 games left for them, that's okay. But the 9 games they have, 5 away games, 4 home games. 2 of those away games are on turf, which means this one on Saturday and then the one against Minnesota coming up on October 21st are both on turf. Does Zlatan play in any of those? That was my question of the day to the chat room. Lots of answers. Yes, no, maybe, probably not. Zlatan Ibrahimovic talked about it after the game. Just one of the great things. I'm sure somewhere Merritt Paulson mashed his teeth and got really upset because he was talking about the turf in Portland. He says, and it was a question asked by Scott French. Scott French asked, "Are you going to go up to Seattle? There's all these injuries. Maybe you could go up there." And he goes, and we're like, and he's like, "I don't know which turf is even up there." That's what Zlatan. So we sort of were explaining, and he's like, "Oh, the whole deal." He says, "I don't know which turf it is. For me, all of them are the same, and I think it's a shame to play on turf because football was not created on turf. But so far, I didn't play on turf. Well, I think I did. 1 game in Portland, 10 minutes. It was actually 18 minutes." He goes, "And that was the worst turf I ever played on." Scott French then said, "Oh, really? That's the best turf in the league." And he goes, let's see, he goes, "Oh, so that says everything." He goes, "I haven't come so far. It's Tuesday today. I just lost 2 points, and let's see what happens tomorrow, and I will discuss what the situation will be before the weekend." He did not talk to media on Thursday. Siggy Schmidt said that he knew whether or not Zlatan was playing. He figured that Seattle would figure it out on Friday because they're training on Friday. Galaxy traveled up to Seattle on Thursday. He said that they're training on Friday and that Seattle, I'm sure, would have a spy there to be able to figure it out. So this isn't a competitive advantage game. The Galaxy just want to play a little difficult with us. Plus, they want to allow Seattle to sell some more tickets to play the Galaxy and to see Zlatan Ibrahimovic coming and blah, 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 all this other stuff. All right? I don't know whether Zlatan's playing. I would lean towards him not playing. But doing that, I think you understand that you're putting your team at a significant disadvantage going against Seattle. Zlatan evens things out a lot, but do you risk him? Could you possibly risk him? That's a dangerous thing. And Nick in the chat room says, "Can someone explain I'm 5 what makes certain turf good or bad?" It usually has to do with the cushioning. But that's sort of where you look at how it plays. Portland has the highest rated turf in terms of its cushioning, in terms of its playability. It has longer strands instead of the stuff that's usually played in Seattle, which is shorter because football players like shorter grass. So American football players go in there, and that sort of dictates the surface. Seattle's going to tell you that they have really good turf. New England's going to tell you that they have the same turf as Portland, but Portland has generally found that it has the best turf, the most playable. And that being said, it's still very unplayable with the way the ball bounces and skids and does all sorts of stupid things. I'm with Zlatan on this. You shouldn't play on turf. All right. Portland has an excuse that they have an underground river that runs right underneath their field, but I imagine if you put some money into it, you could probably figure that out. All right. That's what we see. It'll be interesting. All right, let's get to this game against Seattle. Got a little bit of time left. Want to get to it. LA Galaxy play the Seattle Sounders coming up on Saturday, August 18th. This is a 1 p.m. kickoff time. This game is on ESPN and ESPN Deportes, so it is a nationally televised game, which means that you probably won't find it on ESPN+. What, Josh? Didn't you just say it was on ESPN? Yes, I did. And for some reason, ESPN is not on ESPN+ most of the time. There you go. Isn't that fun? Don't we like that? LA Galaxy, like I said, traveling up on Thursday. We'll train in Seattle on Friday, and I saw some people who are already up there. It looks like it's a little chilly in Seattle, which is good. That's what you like to see. A little chilly. It's like 62, 63 degrees up there this afternoon. That's not bad at all. I think that might do the Galaxy a little good in terms of this. But I will tell you right now, Seattle 9-9-5, 32 points. They are 5-4-2 at home for 17 points. They are on a 5-game winning streak. Not a 5-game unbeaten streak, a 5-game winning streak. And they are on an 8-game unbeaten streak. All right, Seattle is playing much better. Now, they got a little help against FC Dallas in terms of some ridiculously tough play that was allowed on both sides of this team, on both sides of the ball, and then a red card eventually in this game. And it looks like Raul Ruidíaz, I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, Ruidíaz, it looks like he's not going to be suspended, although he absolutely should have been suspended 100%. For his headbutt on Rito Ziegler. Ziegler eventually hits him in the head with 2 hands and also deserves a red card and got red carded for it. But VAR didn't find anything, and I don't think the disco is going to do anything anyway. This seems like a Joseph Martinez thing all over again, like they set a precedent, and now they're saying, oh, well, we can't go back and call that headbutt. And it absolutely was a headbutt. He throws his head back trying to get Ziegler. That's why Ziegler's so upset about it and hits him in the head, is because he tried to headbutt him in the head. He did it. And then that's what you get from that. So anyway, it's a bad look for MLS, but that's just refs, and they are it is exactly what it is. Seattle sitting at 8th in the Western Conference, 12th in the Supporters Shield, looking for their 6th straight win. They are at home. I would hedge my bets in Seattle's direction on this. Got goals from Chad Marshall and Nico Ladero. Ladero now has 6 goals, tied with Will Bruin, and also has 7 assists. Ladero is their best player, the new designated player that they have up there in terms of Ruidíaz. He seems like he's pretty good. We'll see sort of what he has, but yeah, that's going to have to be somebody the Galaxy watch on, and you're gonna see those guys. You're gonna see Roldan and Ladero and Ship and Ruidíaz going at the back line of probably Romney and Steres and Shelvik and Cole. Although again, if I'm Siggy Schmidt, I throw Felcher in there and go a 5-man back line and put 3 in the center with Kitchen and Carrasco and Leggett, and then get I don't know, Ola Kamara up top, and if you want to put another one, or you can throw in another midfielder and go, 5-4-1. Does that work? Is that enough? Yeah, that is 5-4-1. You could do that. You could do that absolutely. So that's what you're seeing. That's what you're seeing. I don't know if Zlatan plays. I would guess that he's not. I would guess the Galaxy lose this game. It's also MLS. I mean, as soon as you start, and we all know this, as soon as you start thinking MLS is one way, it's usually the other way. All right, it's usually the other way. So again, keep that in mind. Look for the successes, though. A success in Seattle is a draw. I'll tell you right now. If they win, you should go out and play the lottery. You should absolutely go out and play the lottery. Asking if Efren travels up to Seattle. I don't think so. I don't think this is a game you want to put him in. This game could be very ugly. This game has a tendency to get out of hand. This game against Seattle could be something you don't want to see. And by the way, Seattle hasn't lost to the Galaxy since July 9th, 2016. That's when the Galaxy went up to Seattle and beat them 1-0. All right? That's seriously. That's what you're seeing. This Seattle team's on a streak. They're a team that could possibly run into the playoff spot. It's going to get muddy in this playoff spot. There are too many teams that are right on top of each other, and this game is not going to decide it for the Galaxy. Certainly not. But a game against LAFC on Friday, August 24th, that one could decide what the Galaxy do and how they do it. You look at a game where they're going to have to go away to Salt Lake. That game is one that could certainly decide things. Playing away at Toronto, you're trying to get a point there. Hosting Seattle on Sunday, September 23rd, that's a game that you need to win. You're looking at this. The Galaxy now need to get, and they got 1 point, so they need 14 points out of the next 9 games. Guess what? It's almost like 1.5 points per game. You need to average it. You need to win some of these games. Where do the wins come from? Because Real Salt Lake should be a win in Real Salt Lake, and that's a tough place to play and win. Hard field at altitude. You need to beat somebody like Toronto. You need to beat Seattle at home. Do you feel confident with that right now, beating Seattle at home? Do you feel confident playing the Vancouver Whitecaps and beating Vancouver? There's a couple things. You should feel confident in this LA Galaxy team's ability to compete. You should feel confident in that. You should not feel confident in their ability to win a game. I was telling the LA Galaxy PR staff whenever they're asking me what I thought about the Minnesota game. And I told them exactly what I thought, which was the LA Galaxy have more talent. They have more offensive talent, but their defense is weaker. They should be able to beat Minnesota at home. That makes sense. They should beat them. And they said, will they beat them? I said, I doubt it. They'll probably draw. That's what you're getting from this. The game against LAFC is going to be huge. And, again, it's going to be a short week for the Galaxy. They go up, and granted, it's an early game. It's probably a good thing. Galaxy will be home on Saturday night. So they'll hop on a plane, and they'll be back in Los Angeles, which is good because they'll have to play on Friday against LAFC. So looking at all these games and where you're going to get the points, where are you going to get the points? You need 14, all right? Just doing basic math, you have to win 4 games just to get 12 points, all right? And draw 2 more. So you have to win 4, draw 2, and you could lose the 3. You can lose 3. So which are the 3 games the Galaxy are going to lose if you're trying to get 1.5 points per game and keep that playoff position? It's going to get tight. I think the Galaxy do it, but it's not going to be pretty. And if it does start to get pretty, then watch out. Then we can start talking about other things in the playoffs. But the Galaxy are a borderline playoff team. There are 6, there are 5, there are 4 in the Western Conference. There are 7. I can see them as a 7. I can absolutely see them as a 7. And it's MLS, so any game is winnable at any time. Looking at this game, I would predict that it's probably 3-1 Seattle. That's what it feels like. I want to know where the offense is coming from. If Zlatan's not playing, Ola Kamara's up there by himself, and you got 4 in the midfield and 5 on the back line, and you're trying to stop people, I mean, where does the offense come from? Chris Pontius? Sebastian Lletget? Imu Boateng comes into this game? Where are you going to get the offense from? Ola Kamara's going to score, 3 or 4 goals? Let's see it. Let's see how it goes. And there's so many things the Galaxy could really get into with this. So we'll see how that goes. That's what you got. The LA Galaxy facing off against the Seattle Sounders. Coming up on Saturday, a 1 p.m. kickoff time. Should be an interesting game. If you're looking for coverage on the Corner of the Galaxy Twitter handle, might not be there for this time. I will be traveling in Denver, so if you're trying to get a hold of me or anything like that, I will be in Denver visiting my son this weekend, but I'm certainly going to try to watch that game if at all possible. I may also be out doing stuff with my son, so I usually don't miss games, you know that, but dad and son time is one of those things that's important, and if he has stuff to do, like go to swimming lessons or anything else, we'll certainly see if we can get it. All right, LA Galaxy against Seattle Sounders. We got LAFC and Heineken Rivalry Week coming up next week. There'll be a show on Monday. Myself and Mr. Kevin Baxter. Panda and Pato in the morning are absolutely still back. We are ready for you. I will make an announcement right now. You should see this. First of all, you should probably stop whatever you're doing. You should pause the podcast after I tell you that there are only 3 more days for Panda and Pato in the morning shirts. That's it. All right. That's it. $20 gets you one of these ridiculously ugly shirts that is sure to be a collector's item. Go to cornerofthegalaxy.com and click the shop button, or just click on the link. I'll put the link at the top of this. It'll be right there. Panda and Pato shirts, you can get them. Do not miss out. You won't want to miss out. You don't want to be one of those people who sees this shirt at StubHub Center and said, for $20, I could have had that shirt. You don't want to be that guy or that girl. You don't want to do that. This is a collector's item. We're never selling it again. It's a stupid idea. Why would anybody wear this shirt? But you're going to see them, and you're going to wish you had one. And you certainly should get it. Okay? Panda and Pato, 3 days left. It will not... 3 days. That's it. Done. No mas. Don't come crying to me. You're going to be Josh, seriously. I was going to order one, but then I didn't. Nope. That's not how it works. I know we reopened some of the other ones. This one's never being reopened again because it's a stupid shirt. Look at it. It's got a panda on it. It's got a duck in boat shoes on it. That's ridiculous. And it's seriously one of my favorite shirts we've ever made. So please, if you can, support the show. We appreciate it. About 25 or 30 people have shirts already. Kevin and I only bought about 15 of those. So, I mean, there's going to be a bunch of people wearing them. I can tell you that right now. So go head on over, cornerofthegalaxy.com. Click the shop button. If you want to get scarves, they're there too. Still have scarves. They ship out pretty quickly. We're doing that. All right? So lots of stuff to do. I'm glad that everybody's supporting us. You guys are amazing, and we're lucky to have you for sure. All right. Anything else that we have here? Looking through my notes, looking through everything else. I don't think so. All right, if you're looking for me on Twitter, it's at Jay Guesman, JGUESMAN, and of course at Galaxy Podcast. Head on over to cornerofthegalaxy.com. That's where you can find all of our articles, our podcasts, all the news, and I think we're doing a pretty darn good job over there. If you're not reading those articles, you're missing out on some of the best Galaxy coverage, Galaxy-centric specific coverage from an independent outlet there is. All right, if you want PR stuff, you can go to the Galaxy's website. All right, go to iTunes and you can subscribe anywhere you get podcasts. That's where you can subscribe to the podcast. Tell your friends about us for sure. That is the way we grow, and we're still growing, and the numbers are going up. So everything's going awesome. You're all amazing. People in the chat room are amazing. People on Twitter are amazing. I only have to yell and scream at a couple of you on occasion. And no, the ball did not go over the line. You can't prove it. Nobody's ever going to prove it. All right, that's it. I'm Josh Guesman. You've been listening to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. Everyone have a great, safe night. If you're up in Seattle, stay warm, stay dry, and everybody's back here on Friday at StubHub Center for the third El Trafico. Have a great one, everybody.
You've been listening to the Corner of the Galaxy podcast on cornerofthegalaxy.com. You can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Galaxy Podcast. And be sure to check out and subscribe to iTunes, Stitcher, and Facebook by searching for Corner of the Galaxy. And for all of your independent LA Galaxy news, discussion, and entertainment, including this podcast, head on over to cornerofthegalaxy.com. Fans, thanks for listening. We ask that you be kind and courteous to your neighbors as you leave the podcast. We thank you for joining us and look forward to seeing you again. Until then, I'm Michael Araujo, and on behalf of the entire Corner of the Galaxy crew, goodbye, everyone.